If you've already seen the 5th Unveiling a Titan video, then you saw the incredible discovery I shared, which appears to be the remains of an eyeball in the eye socket of Montgo. I've made an additional discovery, which ties in, which I'll share in a moment. But first, let's look at some footage up in the eye, taken by my friend John. So now we're on the backside of that cresting rocky structure that I was showing before. And if you think about the structure of the eyeball, it's white, and that's known as the sclera, and that's made of a fatty structure. And like I said before, when my theory is that when fat is petrified, then it turns to a crystalline structure, quartz. And what we see here on the entire backside of that structure is that there's about a 10-inch thick layer of crystal that's on top of another form. And this goes all the way around and then has a channel that builds, that goes back into this portion of the eye socket and actually builds the optic nerve. So
can you show us?
Yeah, so everything you see here is all that 10-inch thick crystalline layer, and that's the cresting structure going up. And these channels that are going down here, this is another what's known as suture, where the bones meet in the eye socket. And if you look in vertebrates, you have the optic fissure, which is where the optic nerve goes, which we'll see in a moment. And then you have these other fissures that are places where the bones meet in sutures, and those go down into the sinus passages. And if you follow these caves down and go in through smaller channels, that actually enters into a giant cavern in there that could very well have been the sinuses and maybe somehow leads to the brain. I haven't explored everything there was to explore, but here you can see the channels going in there and there. These are the vascularity of the eye, I believe, the blood vessels. And as we come up here, now we're on the back portion, and you see this structure of the cave coming down this way, and from above you can really see that this is the optic nerve that's forming, and you can see from here, looking down, that it's following straight back, and you can get around the other side and see the same structure from the other side. And so all throughout this whole section, you have this crystalline covering, and then just channels going in different places. And then if you look back down that way, this has been cut away, but I believe that this was one continuous piece, and it's all covered in quartz crystal going all the way back, and that's all quartz in there as well. So that whole section is going down and straight back, exactly where the optic nerve should be going. Things covered with crystal, and even over here, this is all crystal. You can see the pattern.
And just the structure, how it holds the weight, it looks more how do you say it? Biological? Biological. It doesn't look like it's just been forced together. You know, it looks like it's grown in this shape.
So here's the other side of the optic nerve structure, and then more of the channels going down. And this angle is exactly the angle that you see in the eye sockets as well. So
what were you saying that was over there?
Oh yeah, so over there, so if you think of the eye socket having 6 or 7 bones that constructs the eye socket, you got one bone up here and another bone here that build the inner portion of the eye. And then we already talked about the infraorbital foramen, which is here on an elephant. And if it's tilted back, that would be the holes going that way. But what you also have are these two bones that meet. And I can't remember the names of the bones, maxilla and something else, but those bones meet at a suture, and you can see that crack that's going up. And I show in the second video how that matches the location, and it also matches the shape of an elephant skull for the inner portion of the eye socket. So it's not just that there's an overlap of rock there that's exactly where the suture would be, it also has the same form.
It's a lot of coincidences.
Sure is. How many coincidences does it take before it starts to be an emerging pattern?